Hey friends, and welcome back to English Podcast for Listening and Speaking. It's wonderful to have you here again. Our purpose here is to learn English together in the most peaceful, calm, and story-rich way possible. We believe that when you connect with language through beautiful narratives, it just sinks in differently, more deeply. If this episode helps you, I'd love if you liked, subscribed, or left a kind comment and the topic you want to discuss. Please do stay with us until the very end, because we have some truly valuable insights and a special invitation waiting for you. Have you ever wondered if there's one single, truly enjoyable way to boost all your English skills at once? Not just your vocabulary, or your grammar, or even your speaking alone, but everything? A method that feels less like studying and more like an adventure? Imagine immersing yourself in another world, following intriguing characters, and uncovering mysteries, all while your English improves naturally, almost without you realizing it. What if I told you that this magical path lies within the pages of a book, or rather, within the captivating power of storytelling? You see, for many English learners, the journey often feels like a series of isolated tasks. We study vocabulary lists, memorize grammar rules, practice speaking with prepared sentences. And while these methods have their place, they can sometimes feel disconnected. They don't always give you the full, living picture of English as it's truly used. But what if you could learn by simply getting lost? What if your learning felt less like work and more like an escape into a fascinating world? This is where the magic of reading novels, especially when paired with listening to audiobooks, truly shines. It's an incredibly powerful, yet often surprisingly underutilized strategy for acquiring English. Think about it. When you read a story, you're not just looking at words on a page. You're entering a narrative, a universe of characters, emotions, and events. This immersion provides something invaluable: real language in real, meaningful contexts. Unlike flashcards or textbook exercises, where words are often presented in isolation, a novel wraps new vocabulary and complex grammar patterns in layers of meaning. You encounter words like cicadas, or phrases like a mysterious hum, not as abstract concepts, but as elements that paint a vivid scene, that evoke a feeling. When you see a word within a compelling plot, surrounded by other words that give it clues, your brain naturally starts to figure things out. You're not just memorizing, you're discovering. This process of guessing words from context is a vital skill that empowers you to understand new material without having to stop and look up every single word. It builds intuition, a sense for the language that goes beyond mere translation. And it's not just about vocabulary. Grammar, which can often feel like a rigid set of rules, becomes natural through exposure. As you read, you start to subconsciously notice how sentences are structured, how tenses shift to convey different moments in time, or how ideas are connected. You see the rhythm of native English, the flow of its sentences. This isn't about memorizing a chart of verb conjugations. It's about seeing the dance of grammar in action, making it stick in your mind in a much more organic and memorable way. Pairing reading with listening, perhaps by following along with an audiobook, amplifies this effect. The sound of the words, the pronunciation, the intonation, it all deepens your comprehension. It helps you connect the written word with its spoken form, building both your reading and listening skills simultaneously. It's like having a gentle guide whisper the story into your ears while your eyes follow the journey on the page. This approach creates a rich, multi-sensory learning experience. It engages your imagination, your emotions, and your intellect all at once. And because you're emotionally invested in the story, the language you encounter becomes deeply embedded, easier to recall, and more likely to become part of your active vocabulary and natural grammar usage. It's truly a holistic way to learn, making every new word and every new structure feel less like a challenge and more like a welcome friend in the story you're enjoying. So, how do we put this beautiful idea of learning through stories into practice? How do we truly dive in and let a narrative guide our English journey? Well, to show you exactly what I mean, we're going to embark on a little adventure together right now. I want to introduce you to a special story, one I've crafted specifically for this purpose, called The Last Reading. This isn't just any tale. It's designed to be a living, breathing example of everything we've just discussed. As we journey through its pages, you'll discover how vocabulary naturally reveals itself, how grammar becomes intuitive, and how your speaking and listening skills grow without you even realizing you're studying. Think of it as our personal laboratory, where we'll explore key language learning principles in the most enjoyable way possible. So, lean back, relax, and let's begin. The air in the old, forgotten library was still, heavy with the scent of ancient paper and the ghosts of countless stories. Dust motes, like tiny stars, danced in the slender beams of moonlight that pierced through the tall, grimy windows. Outside, the summer night hummed with life, a symphony of cicadas creating a steady, hypnotic drone, a kind of natural lullaby that seemed to cradle the entire world in its sleepy embrace. Alara ran her fingertips along the spines of the untouched books, her breath held. She wasn't just searching for any book, she was searching for the book. The one whispered about in hushed tones, the one said to hold a secret, a power, perhaps even a curse. It was known only as the Final Chronicle, and legend claimed it could only be read on the night of the summer solstice, under a specific alignment of stars. Her lantern cast a trembling circle of light across the vast, silent room, illuminating shelves that stretched to the vaulted ceiling, laden with forgotten volumes. Each book seemed to breathe with its own quiet history, their pages holding secrets whispered across centuries. Alara, a young scholar with an insatiable hunger for the lost and the mysterious, had spent weeks tracking down the location of this secluded, private library. Tonight was the night of the solstice, the night when, according to ancient lore, the Final Chronicle revealed its truest form. Her heart thrummed a soft, nervous rhythm against her ribs, echoing the distant, tireless hum of the cicadas outside. Their chirping, usually a comforting summer lullaby, felt different tonight, sharper, almost anticipatory. She paused, listening, but there was nothing but the steady buzz and the whisper of her own breathing in the vast silence. Finally, her gaze landed on it. Not a grand, ornate tome, but a slim, leather-bound volume, tucked away on a low, dusty shelf, almost hidden from view. Its cover was unadorned, the leather worn smooth from centuries of unknown hands. Its title faded to near invisibility. But Alara knew. She felt it, a faint tremor in the air, a pull towards it. With a glove-clad hand, she carefully pulled it free. A tiny puff of dust rose, smelling of dried ink and forgotten time. She carried it to a sturdy, oak table in the center of the room, placing her lantern beside it. The light caught the faint, almost invisible etching on the cover, a single, delicate feather. Taking a deep breath, Alara opened the book. The pages, brittle with age, crackled softly. Inside, The script was unlike anything she had ever seen. An elegant, flowing hand, written in what appeared to be silver ink, shimmering faintly in the lantern light. As she began to read the first lines, a chill, not of cold, but of profound understanding, crept up her spine. The words weren't merely telling a story. They were weaving a spell, a truth both beautiful and terrifying. All right, let's just pause here for a moment. You've been listening intently to the story, I can feel it. And as we journey through stories together, one of the most powerful skills you can develop, truly, is the art of understanding new words without needing to rush to a dictionary every single time. It's like being a detective, looking for clues. Let's think about some words we just heard. Did you notice the word, cicadas? The story said, the summer night hummed with life. A symphony of cicadas creating a steady, hypnotic drone. And then later, echoing the distant, tireless hum of the cicadas outside. Now, if you've never heard cicadas before, what clues do you have? It's something that hums, something that creates a drone, or a symphony, in the summer night. What kind of small creature might make a continuous sound like that during warm evenings? Perhaps you've heard them yourself, buzzing softly in the trees. These are little insects, very common in summer, known for their distinct, often loud, buzzing sound. You don't need a picture, do you? Just the sound of their name and the context helps you imagine them. Then, there was the word, lullaby. The story described the cicada's sound as a kind of natural lullaby that seemed to cradle the entire world in its sleepy embrace. And again, their chirping, usually a comforting summer lullaby. What kind of song or sound do we associate with sleep, with comforting someone, especially a child, into a gentle slumber? Yes, a lullaby is a soothing song, often sung to help someone fall asleep. The word itself sounds soft, doesn't it? And finally, hum. We heard, the summer night hummed with life, and, echoing the distant, tireless hum of the cicadas outside. Hum is a sound, a continuous, low, vibrating sound. Think about what a refrigerator does, or what you might do if you're quietly singing without opening your mouth. It's that steady, soft, continuous sound. You see? You don't always need to look up every single word. Often, the words around it, the feeling of the sentence, the overall atmosphere, they all conspire to give you the meaning. This skill, this ability to guess from context, is so incredibly valuable. It makes reading flow, it makes learning feel more intuitive, and it trains your brain to connect ideas naturally. It's a gentle dance between what you know and what you can infer. Now, let's shift our attention from individual words to how those words come together, how they form sentences, and how they tell a story. This brings us gently to grammar. I know, sometimes the word, grammar, can feel a little intimidating, like a strict teacher with a ruler, but in our cozy reading world, grammar isn't about rules. It's about noticing patterns, like the beautiful threads woven into a tapestry. When you read a story, especially a captivating one like The Last Reading, your brain is doing amazing things without you even realizing it. You're absorbing grammar not through memorization, but through exposure. You're seeing how native speakers actually use the language, how they shift tenses, how they connect ideas, how they build a scene. Did you notice, for instance, how the story mostly unfolds in the past tense? The old house stood, the summer night hummed, he sat, he picked up. This is very common for storytelling. We're recounting events that happened. It helps ground us in the narrative, placing us in that specific moment in time. But then, sometimes, there might be subtle shifts. Maybe a description that feels more immediate, or a thought that is presented as a general truth. These subtle changes are what make language feel alive. You don't need to know the exact grammatical name for every shift, but simply by reading and listening, your brain starts to intuitively understand why those shifts occur. It begins to feel natural. You absorb the rhythm, the flow, and the subtle cues that tell you when something happened, is happening, or will happen. Reading helps you develop what we call grammar noticing. It's like when you listen to music, and you start to recognize the different instruments, or the way the melody rises and falls. You don't need to be a music theorist to appreciate it, but the more you listen, the more you pick up on those subtle details. The same happens with grammar through reading. Your subconscious mind starts to piece together the puzzles, seeing how verbs change, how sentences are structured, and how meaning is conveyed simply by experiencing them in context again and again. It's a gentle, almost invisible learning process that is far more effective for long-term retention than just drilling rules. Because when you see grammar in action, woven into a story, it has meaning, it has a purpose, and it has an emotional connection. And those connections are what make learning stick. And now, as the night deepens around Elias and that ancient, whispering book, let's return to our story, the last reading. Feel the quiet settle, the soft hum of the evening outside, and the slight creak of the old armchair as Elias turns another page. His fingers, thin and weathered like old parchment, traced the faded script, a language that seemed to murmur secrets from centuries past. The lamplight, a warm, golden pool, illuminated the intricate illustrations that adorned the margins of the book, twisting vines, crescent moons, and eyes that seemed to watch him from the page. A chill, light as a cobweb, drifted through the room, though the summer night was warm. Elias's gaze sharpened, his breath catching almost imperceptibly as he found a passage he seemed to have been searching for. His voice, now a little lower, a little more resonant, began to fill the quiet room once more, no longer just a lullaby, but something deeper, something that felt like an incantation. He read of shadows that danced when no fire burned, of whispers carried on winds that only the oldest trees remembered. He spoke of a deep forest, where the moon never fully pierced the canopy, and where a lonely traveler once stumbled upon a hidden spring. And as the traveler drank, a melody, ancient and sorrowful, began to weave itself around him, growing stronger, like a vine tightening its grip. Elias paused, a long, reflective silence hanging in the air, broken only by the distant, rhythmic pulse of the cicadas. He then looked up, his eyes, usually so gentle, now held a strange, distant glimmer, as if he were seeing not the dim walls of his study, but the very forest he described. He cleared his throat softly, and continued, his voice now imbued with a quiet intensity that was almost unsettling. He spoke of a curse, not of fire or brimstone, but of silence and forgetting. A curse woven into words, into a poem that, once spoken aloud, would ensure that the speaker's name, their very existence, would slowly fade from memory, like a forgotten dream. The air in the room felt heavy, thick with untold stories and unspoken fears. Elias's eyes, still fixed on some unseen point beyond the lamp's glow, slowly drifted back to the book. He turned another page, and then another, until his finger rested upon a poem, starkly laid out on the page, surrounded by the familiar, unsettling illustrations. It seemed to shimmer faintly, a silent invitation to a very old, very potent magic. Now, that story, the last reading, isn't just for listening. It's a wonderful tool for you to actively improve your English speaking skills. Remember, language isn't just about understanding, it's about expressing yourself. So, let's try something together. When you listen to a story like this, you can practice what we call shadowing. This means you try to repeat what I say, or what the narrator says, almost at the same time. It's like being an echo. Try to match my rhythm, my intonation, and how I pronounce the words. Go back and listen to the last section again, and this time, try to whisper along with me. This helps your mouth and brain get used to the natural flow of English, making your own speaking more fluent and natural over time. Don't worry about being perfect. Just try to mimic the sounds and the flow. Another beautiful way to practice speaking with a story is to imagine. What do you think will happen next in the last reading? Elias has found a mysterious poem linked to a curse of silence and forgetting. What do you predict he will do? Will he read it aloud? Will someone interrupt him? Take a moment, pause this podcast if you like, and say your thoughts out loud. Describe what you feel might happen, even if it's just a few sentences. This isn't about being right, it's about forming your own ideas in English and speaking them. And finally, to truly make sure you've understood and can retell what you've heard, try to summarize the story we've heard so far. In your own words, what has happened to Elias? What is the atmosphere like? What is this mysterious book about? Try to say it aloud, perhaps to yourself, or even to a friend. This helps you organize your thoughts and use the vocabulary and grammar you've just heard in a meaningful way. Remember, every time you speak, even if it feels small, you are building your confidence and your ability to communicate in English. It's a gentle journey, step by step. Elias felt an inexplicable pull towards the ancient poem, a whisper from the past that defied his caution. The words, etched in a forgotten script, seemed to hum with a strange energy, an old magic. He lifted the book, the faint scent of parchment and dust filling his lungs, and began to read aloud, his voice soft, almost a reverence for the old verse. As his voice articulated each line, a peculiar chill crept into the air, not of cold, but of something vast and empty. The cicadas outside, which had been a constant, gentle lullaby, gradually faded. Their familiar hum slowly, subtly, vanished, leaving behind an uncanny stillness. Elias paused, his brow furrowed, a sudden, unsettling quiet descending upon the room, a silence deeper than any he had ever known. He looked around, feeling an unusual lightness in his head, a fading clarity. The names of his favorite books, moments from his past, even the face of his own sister, seemed to shimmer at the edges of his memory, threatening to dissolve. A line from the poem echoed in his mind. Upon the utterance, silence shall fall, and memory fade, binding all. A shiver ran down his spine. The curse. It wasn't a curse of death, but of something far more insidious. A gradual, gentle erasing of sound, of words, of the very fabric of memory. The library, once a bastion of stories and knowledge, now felt like a tomb of forgotten tales, and he, Elias, was becoming one of them. He tried to speak, to call out, but his voice was a mere whisper, swallowed by the profound, growing silence. The last thing he remembered was the heavy, dark cover of the book, closing slowly, as if by its own will, sealing him within its ancient secret. The only sound left the faint, distant hum of a memory already lost. This chilling ending shows the power of narrative, doesn't it? How stories can weave such profound feelings and even fears. Wow, what an ending, right? The last reading truly leaves us with a lingering chill, a sense of mystery. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What do you think happened to Elias? What does it mean for memory to fade so gently, so completely? I invite you now to just sit with that feeling for a moment. Perhaps close your eyes and picture that silent library, the heavy book, and Elias's fading memory. What emotions does this story stir in you? What are your thoughts on the power of words, and perhaps, the power of silence? Don't feel pressured to have a right answer. This is about connecting with the story on your own terms. And now, for our first challenge. This is something simple, yet incredibly effective for improving your listening comprehension. I'd love for you to go back and listen to the last reading again, from the very beginning of the story segment. This time, I want you to focus purely on understanding as much as you can. Don't worry about vocabulary or grammar right now. Just let the story wash over you. See if you can pick up on more details, more nuances, more of the emotional landscape of the narrative. Did anything surprise you more on a second listen? Did you notice any sounds or descriptions you missed the first time? This simple act of re-listening, without pressure, is a fantastic way to deepen your comprehension and train your ear to the rhythm of English. Now, that was your first challenge, to simply listen and re-engage with the story. And for those of you who felt truly pulled into the world of the last reading, who found yourselves wondering what mysteries lie beneath the surface of language and memory, I have a second, deeper challenge for you. This isn't just another challenge, it's an invitation. An invitation to a special, immersive 2-week experience that takes everything we've talked about today. Learning through stories, guessing from context, noticing grammar naturally, and practicing speaking. And wraps it all up into one captivating adventure. I'm talking about our upcoming Murder Mystery Challenge. Imagine stepping into a world where every clue you uncover, every conversation you follow, and every riddle you solve isn't just for the sake of the mystery, but also a direct path to boosting your English skills. Over these 2 weeks, you won't just be a passive listener. You'll be an active participant, a detective in a fictional crime. You'll receive multimedia clues, from audio snippets to written documents, just like you would in a real investigation. You'll be using your listening skills to piece together fragments of conversations, your reading skills to decipher cryptic notes, and your critical thinking to connect the dots. And here's the beautiful part. You won't be alone. You'll be part of a supportive community of fellow learners, where you can discuss your theories, share your insights, and practice your English speaking and writing as you work together to solve the case. This isn't about memorizing rules or drilling vocabulary. It's about living the language, about letting it become a tool for discovery and connection, all within the gripping narrative of a murder mystery. It's designed to make learning so engaging that you almost forget you're learning, and instead, you feel like you're simply enjoying a fantastic story. So, as we bring our journey with the last reading to a close for today, let's gently reflect on the powerful secrets it has revealed about learning English. We began by asking if one fun method could truly boost all your skills, and I hope by now you feel a resounding yes to that question. Remember, the core of our philosophy here is simple yet profound. Discover, practice, review. When you immerse yourself in a novel, you discover. You discover words like cicadas or lullaby, not as isolated dictionary entries, but alive within the story, their meanings illuminated by the context around them. This is how your vocabulary truly expands, not through brute force memorization, but through intuitive understanding. You learn to guess meanings, a vital skill that empowers you to keep reading and understanding without constantly stopping. Then, you practice. Whether it's shadowing the narrator, trying to predict what happens next, or simply retelling a part of the story to yourself, you're actively engaging with the language. This isn't just about speaking. It's about making the sounds of English your own, finding your rhythm, and building the confidence to express your thoughts. And finally, you review. Re-listening to a story, rereading a passage, or simply reflecting on the emotions and themes helps to solidify everything you've learned. It allows your brain to process and integrate the new language structures and words naturally, moving them from short-term memory into long-term understanding. Novels, especially when paired with audio, are truly unique in their ability to offer you authentic language. This isn't textbook English. It's the language as it's used by real people, in real situations, imbued with emotion and nuance. This realness helps you build an intuitive understanding of grammar, not just knowing the rules, but feeling how sentences should be formed, how tenses shift to convey meaning. And perhaps most beautifully, stories stimulate your imagination. They transport you, make you feel, and make you think. When your imagination is engaged, learning becomes less like a chore and more like an adventure, a personal journey into new worlds of language and thought. And now, as we gently drift to the close of our time together, let's let the essence of our story, the last reading, hum softly in our minds, like a final, soothing lullaby. I've composed a small, reflective song to help us carry these lessons, and this feeling, with us. Singing softly, the cicadas hummed a quiet tune, beneath the pale and sleepy moon. A story told, in whispers deep, secrets that the pages keep. A lullaby, a gentle sway, as words unfolded, come what may. Through grammar learned, and words made clear, each sentence calming every fear. So read your tales, let language bloom, dispelling shadows, chasing gloom. With every word, a skill takes flight, illuminating English light.